thank you so much for giving us time and all that. It's an
Pleasure.
honor. I read about your work at that band and all that, and your talks and all that. I actually went through all the sites and then all that. So it's truly an honor to meet you.
Okay.
And then so we are actually from VPN. We are master students. We are pre-thesis students.
Pre-thesis.
Pre-thesis students.
Okay.
So we are doing a subject called practice and manage architecture.
Practice. Professional practice.
Practice. So first question. So so you have started at own practice and all that, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us about how you started it and when you started it?
Okay. Actually, I graduated in 1988. That was when I was 22, 23 plus.
You were in UTM, right?
UTM. Did a degree in Bachelor of Architecture. But those are Bachelor 6 years. So that means it's already like up to now, Masters already doing. Those days, Architecture is like Bachelor of Architecture, call it. Now, of course, we have BSc and MS, and all. So that's equivalent to the part 2, 1988. And then immediately I was working for 2 years with some architect firm and also with an in-house developer. Right? Okay. An in-house architect or developer. Actually, those days, there's architects, Kasi, because he was architect. So it looked like, but before that, one or two firms I worked also. Very short stint, about 2 years I was there. So in the process, I took my part 3. Of course, those times were tough. When you graduate, no job. 1980 is a very bad time. When came out to work, we got no job. So I went to Langkawi, work as a freelance, do some work for a few months. And then after that, they said, I can give you a job under SKS. Skill Khidmat Sementara. How much? 500 salary. Imagine those days, huh? So after that, I thought I would rather do freelance and all that. After I offer from contractor to be partner, to be contractor and all at that time in Lanka. Lanka is booming that time. Okay. But then generally market is really bad. Recession that time. Lanka no booming, Lanka just started to boom. Okay. But then I came back because that was not I was looking at electrical practice. Then I came back and I mean I didn't accept the offer lah, whatever because under the government, work for the government, because initially there was some landscaping work and freelance work for the government which I did, which they paid me a bit. But then when I absorbed the scheme Sementara with the part 2 degree of $500 salary, then I came back, worked in one small architect office, and then went in for a few months. Of course, those days tough. Salary was 700. I was lucky. But bad time, very bad time in graduated. We went to very bad times lah. And then we got all support teaching part time and all that lah. Then I started another architect firm in-house. As I said, I became Mustafa Kumar. Okay, within that the in-house architect, and there we started. Kasi was the in-house architect at the time. Also tough, whereby we worked day and night. Salary was very low. They started like 700 salary. Imagine those days still. Of course, slowly gradually went up within a year. At that time, maybe $1,000 salary. Tough still. At the part-time work on that. And then I see it's not going to be easy. The best way is get your part 3 fast and go and do your practice. I already seen that time. How good you are. Then of course, when I got my part 3, it was offer for practice and all that. But then I had bad experiences lah, working with people, work day and night, very low salary. Our time was really bad, I can tell you. Now all people are very lucky. But one thing good, it teaches us to be a better person, how to do things within short duration of time, work hard, and to thrive despite all the challenges we had. I do work part-time, teach and all that at the time, support or income, all that. I got my part-time and then I never think back. I started on my own.
At what age you got the part
25, my part 3.
25 you got part 3.
In fact, 1990 I got part 3. In fact, I registered my capital straight in December 1990.
So you did masters straight away?
Straight away after SPM. I was an express class student, I saved 1 year. And master straight after SPM. So I saved 2 years. So by 22, 20 plus 23, I already got my part 2. Then I sit for exam after 2 years. In fact, 1.5 year after 1.5 year. Because 1 year post part 1 I used for my law book. Got through. By one sitting, thank God. I don't thank God, work hard also lah. We got a study group. Of course, I really wanted to. That time, times were really tough. So like that, and then immediately got 25. I already got my part 3. So then I just think go on my own. No choice because work is tough. I mean, we work so much, do so much, and work, but then the pay is so small. And secondly, would rather start something on some jobs. At that time, I could foresee some job. You will surprise. One of my first job is doing master plan Bandar Sri Damansara, which is a very big township. Today, you know Bandar Sri Damansara.
Yeah.
The project came to me by the developer friend of mine. Then he knows the developer, the manager. Uh, because that time LNG Land and General bought over from a minor corporation that property, 1,400 acres, and I had the few hundred acres already been developed at the time. The 900 acres that time, they know the ring road and all that what they have now. I can show you the master plan. So that part is basically not much developed yet. The few places, and then I was given a task to enhance the value. I managed to increase from 12,000 units to almost 17,000, 16,000 plus units, 4,000 plus units on the same piece of land. It is a master plan. I need a master plan. And master plan, not just architecture work. I can show you my layout. The layout as bigger than this door. So I draw manually those days, no computer. I was just 25 then. We started one of the first job. Okay. So
Out of question, do you prefer the modern era or now, like last time those days?
Modern era or now, I think both has got advantages lah. Okay, I have to do things and all that. But those days, when things are nice, at that time, there's not much developed yet. Today, everything is in a fast pace and very high density here and there we do. You know. Those days, the luxury of space, we do things and all that. And of course, we do a lot manually that time. Of course, along the way, the CAD just came in. Slowly started off with 2D CAD and slowly move on to what we are today, lah. So, both is got advantage and disadvantage, lah. Of course, today you can do things very fast. So that's how it is. Took the challenge. Then I got it approved. We did a master plan, got it approved. And at that time, the developer announced only a few hundred million ringgit. We just have a small. Then we are very young. That time I don't know how to charge. Also, my fee and me very very small fee compared to the what do you call it, the feasibility that they do on the enhanced value. So because when the developer buy over another property, they want to see how to optimize the land. So I did a master plan for that at that time. Despite that, more than 10 architects involved in the projects, I did a master plan because I could do it. I took the challenge and I did it because they foresee that. I mean, I've done master plan before while I was working for other companies lah. So I can foresee I can do that. Manually calculate everything. There's no computer, all manually. Of course, we use computer for certain things like that. They're very basic. So we do that, and then of course there are more than 10 architects involved in various parcels. Because we also did some parcel of architectural work. But of course, architecture was quite straightforward. That those terrace houses, straightforward. They got TSD tenancy department. They give you the design. You just do facade, submit. So not really challenging that time. Of course, that project was good. But after that, LNG Land General went to do many other projects, including Nabab Ringin, Tungabaya, and all that. After that one, they didn't really do that well. Until now, they got issues with the projects. But it's okay, it's a good project, indeed. And I'm happy that contributed to the master plan of that at that time. Of course, original master plan done by Rekha Ranchan, complained earlier, even before. I did it, I made it the master plan. Then, of course, along the way, did a housing, number of housing projects, commercial, industrial, a lot of industrial building also along the way, and institutional buildings and so on.
So when you talk, so I already can see the passion and all that. Like you said, in 25 years old, you already got a part 3 and all that. So they've confirmed there's one drive that brought you there, right? So is there any like idols, like role models that influence you or your style?
I don't have specific and role models, but I admire people do project, of course, functional project, explore innovations and new technology. Like posters, you can see we come out new innovations every time you go see. But I don't have specifically anybody. And of course, as long as some building functional, very much environmental friendly, sustainable to the environment and so on. So that's what it is.
Like create your own style.
Of course, everybody there's an advantage lah. Some are good in, some are good at that. But generally, end of the day, is basic thing is functional. You're innovative. Of course, we also end of the day, we do work for clients, especially the residential, commercial, all that. It all depends on your creation. Sometimes you do a good job, they can get good returns. I know I've helped a lot of people.
You focus on which one more?
Okay, initially I was doing housing a lot those days in the 90s. But those days housing, you started a lot of landed properties, terrace houses. Of course, a bit of apartments here and there we did in the 90s, some low limit apartment. We do a bit of high rise also at that time, but most of it either completed or project need take off lah. Because along the way, the lot of speculation goes on. We submit many projects speculated, especially when submit for development, especially DBKL area. The moment they get the density approved or sorry, the planning approval, they swap the land because the value goes up. So most a lot of developing, they just sell at a higher value and go like that. We lost few jobs also lah. We go up to the planning stage or approval, design and approval. Then somebody take over to complete the job. They're also like that.
So when you mentioned DBKL, this is out of the script. When you mentioned DBKL, you gave a lot of talks about OSC kind of things, right?
Actually, I was involved OSC because I was from 2012-13. We were involved in what do you call it under NPC, Malaysian Productive Center, and this actually this came from Pemuda. Those days, not Pemuda. Under the Najib's time, they had this ease of One Malaysia things, so ease of doing business lah. I would say like something like Pemuda lah. Pemuda, you there Pemuda. First started from there, and then under NPC, we want to World Bank does ranking for ease of doing business. Okay, Malaysia was number maybe about 40, 50 those days lah. When it comes to ease of doing business, dealing with construction permit, we call it getting approval is dealing with construction permit, DCP lah. So that is where the World Bank benchmark the countries for the world. How easy to do to get approvals. That means get license lah. That means permit that they can start business. That's why it was dealing with construction permit, DCP. So I was involved from PAM. I was nominated there as a representative in the Pemuda NPC, and also we have involved all the stakeholders lah, developers, builders, all the technical agencies included. We work with DBKL. When we started in 2011, 2010, so before even started 2010, our ranking in the world, ease of doing business, was 130 plus, 37 if I'm not mistaken, or maybe around that, plus minus. Along the way, so we formulate work through World Bank's guidance. The World Bank got its own format to what do you call it, rank a particular country. It's okay, right? I got my notice. A particular country or so ease of doing business. You see, ease of doing business, so many criteria. One is getting electricity, one getting finance. One of it is getting construction permit. Dealing with construction permit, they call DCP. Dealing with construction permit. In fact, I'm involved quite a bit on this lah. So from 137, every year we improve. We come to 100, 90. By the time 2017-18, we become number 20 plus. And in 2020, we became number 2. Imagine, 137. We are better than Singapore. Singapore always number 1 or 2. We even become better than Singapore. That means we already got a model created in Malaysia under DBKL. Because DBKL, what they did, this test a small scale projects, which is projects involve 1 acre below 3 story, that sort of thing. Of course, they use comparison of setting up petrol stations. They do a small project. If you can do a benchmark small project, you can benchmark with any size. So we did this benchmarking. World Bank is bank. They evaluate. They come, the officer here, they interview people, interview public, interview the professionals, authority, and they give points and they value you. You are number 1 in the world. So Malaysia used to be 137 in 2010 or 2011. I got some slide I can show you later if you want to know on this details on this. So we managed the whole team lah. I'm just part of a small part of it. We with the technical agencies on that, we simplified the process until now. So DBKL actually adapting this now. So DBKL has got a very good system. They can approve fast. Whereas the other authority, actually Selangor is getting bad to worse now. I can tell you. The authorities to get a simple bungalow approval, so much work. And the other thing, requiring town planner for all kind of submission, which is ridiculous. Things like that, So we simplified a lot of the things, follow the World Bank model. And then we managed to, that's where OIC system all came in between, OIC 3 and all that. And then at the time we were involved coming up with the OIC 3 and all that, with all the stakeholders. And what we did, imagine we can come up with the ranking from 132 to number 2. But after that, World Bank has changed the model of ranking now. Now they do what you call it business location, locality. That means they go by the location. The benchmarking different already, slightly different. But we still do it lah. But then that's why DBKL has already set an example to do this what do you call it good ease of doing business. People from overseas come and learn from DBKL. People from Sabah. After that, we did for KK, Kopi Sabah. They come out their own menu, and then we had a pilot program with PAM and MPC, and of course with the stakeholders. We came out with 6 locality. We come out with manual for OSC 3. What do you call it? OSC. That time OSC 1 submission lah. Najib time OSC 1. After that, the name has changed lah. Ease of dealing with DCP whatever lah. So we came out manual 6 localities at that time. First, Seberang Perai, I did personally. We were involved in all that time. We got our own manual. Penang, we did. Ipoh, we did. Johor, we did. Sabah, we did. The whole team lah. So we had manual for them, and if you follow the manual, it's quite fast. But then they only for small scale project. But in Seberang Perai, we extended up to 5 acres property, and they're still using that manual. Of course, they enhanced over the time. They was done almost already 5-6 years. We established after the government change, everything changed. We already got a very good model. What I'm surprising is why can't follow? People from all over the world overseas can come and learn from DBKL. Why Selangor next door can't learn from DBKL? You know how a system works, lah. Actually, our system, Malaysia is one of the most regulated in terms of regulations. When it comes to approval, there was so much regulations. And the problem is, it's not the regulation. Regulation is good. The people down there doing the work. On the ground problem.
I feel like most people are not still aware of all the processes and all that. Like when I was working in assumption and all that, there was a token, right? You use a token for signature and all. So my boss didn't know about that. So it like the project tango for another 6 months and then just because of one simple token.
No, because of token and all this. But the thing is that, token or not, there must be some kind of easy. I mean, to make it easy lah. Why make it so difficult? You can just upload PDF and finish it off. Singapore can do very easy method. And secondly, capacity building is not there. Easy for us to say. What capacity building do? Singapore, when they go for all these things, PCA, of course, Singapore is just one authority lah, Building Construction Authority. It's very easy to do. Okay, they send, for instance, the adapt beam. They send they come in the tune of about 200 million Sing dollars. 200 million Sing, not 1 2 million, to put into the system. I mean, the government gave grant to transform the entire industry into beam. The architect office, engineer office, all. I mean, they need holistic lah. They give matching grant. You pay 50,000, I give 50,000. Buy computer software, you do. I train you also. They provide training, and then they also build files. Their what do you call it? Their own system, beam files, their own library with all the database, and they got all the supply, all databases there. So easy, they can adapt it, no problem. And then authority also, they edit what do you call it? The capacity building for all the authorities. They provide everything, So basically, they provide all this. The entire industry is adapted very fast, and then the commission also go through beam. They adapt it. Now they go on a step ahead. They bring AI in already. We are still talking about beam, but to get 1 2 million from CIDB collecting money from construction. CIDB is collecting money from contractors. They're supposed to help to develop the industry. So CIDB, I was involved in this personally also. CIDB, we had worked with CIDB to come out with our local beam library, together with the PAM and a few other stakeholders. So started lah, but there only like 1 2 million to spend. How much you can do? And we even write to government to get matching grant so that we can adopt beam 50% or that through PAM and all that. So how much you can do? We even went to UK, Riva Enterprise in UK, RIBA. They are the center for the beam for UK. Riva Enterprise, just like PAM Riva there, so in UK, but they register all the contractors with them. So they they also got government help also to do all these things. So they call it CISAB, Construction in the Index System for Building. So they register all the contract. Every file is there, from the design file up to the manual of maintenance. They say you select door, for instance. You got all kind of door, all the supplies will be there. What you select, and that one you segregate. The beam file is there automatically. You create beam file with suppliers, automatically put in drawing, things like that. I mean, you can go, CISFB is all elements of construction. Like you can go, and then the library was built up is there already. CISFB vendor learn from them. After that, the guy really left. After that, until today, he's still talking, talking. We do that. That's it. That's where we are today. That's why big companies can adapt because they got sizable projects, sizable client. They can. That's why Beam is basically everybody doing on their own. Basically, your own capacity, you won't do for your own projects. You do it. That's it. You develop on fire. Even we try on some projects. You don't really need Beam for some small scale projects and all that. Unless it's really big projects, we go for it, lah. Okay, or requirement for client, we go for it.
Okay, so I think we're gonna go further on the PAM and the
Boleh.
later. But I just want to ask about the business outlook and practice.
Okay.
So how would you describe the current architecture business outlook in Malaysia?
Okay, we look at business outlook. Business is still there. I can't say it's bad or not, but the problem is there are works. Because of what do you call it, the business environment out there, because a lot of architects competing for low scale fees and all these things. I think the problem now is that a lot of people accepting job on low fees and all that. I think this has to stop. Because what do you call it? I mean, work is there, lah. But the problem is, for instance, I also experienced many projects. I go and see the client, do a project, talk to them, get, let's say, we're getting certain fees. Say, not much, even we also slightly below the scale of fees. Got scale of fees, but not many people really follow that. So let's say we go for the 3% on that. Then come back, after I go back, somebody offered for 1%. You can follow his fee, I give you. Then I might give him. Done deal. So that's the kind of scenario we foresee now. Maybe I don't, something has to be done now, but not that easy said and done. So that's why we take the job with a reasonable fees or don't take it all. I don't expect full scale of fees, reasonable fees. Jobs are there. I don't say jobs are not there. A lot of work is there. But then, of course, sometimes the volume game, people take a lot of jobs and the fee offered is quite small on that. And sometimes you can foresee a lot of big firms monopolizing also a lot of this job, even small job, big job they take on, because sometimes they also can be offered low fees because they can share data and drawings and all those things. So still the market is good, but then housing industry today is there is work, but of course more into like high-rise projects and all that right now. Again, the fee also is a bit challenging, not to say that very good, because sometimes you take the job, there's somebody always offer the lower fees. I think that's the main issue right now. And secondly, developers take advantage to ask for proposal for consultants, which so many consultants does it. And after that, they disappoint one guy. The other guy just do work for free. Happens. And now a lot of design build project also, especially government projects now. So design, imagine one fellow get a job out of 10 or 15 bidders. And to do design build like schools and all that, the government project nowadays, you got to do up to tender stage drawing already, more or less. I mean, not full complete, at least something to for the pricing and all that. How much effort I put in? And not everybody get paid. So a lot of this kind of advantage taking on. That's the thing. But generally, the market is good. But what's more important, you have to be good at what you're doing. But some people are good at industry. So people look for you and come to you. Some people are good at doing nice bungalows and all that. Still got market for that. Of course, some are good at resort or whatever. So it all depends on what you're good at. Of course, big firms like GDP and all don't say. People still look for them. They're already up there. Any job they could go up there. So that's how it is now. So market is still okay. Only thing is that there are always ups and downs. Of course, recession was really bad. 2000, 2003. But now things have picked up. But not really as what it used to be. But things are better. For some things are better than before. For some people. Okay.
So we're gonna narrow it down a bit.
Yeah.
So the main sources of your project for your firm, and how would you attract your clients and
okay, right now I think a lot of jobs are referrals. We didn't really go out for marketing or whatever. I'm not really going to approach developers. That's why we don't do much for developers and all. Mainly on referrals. Okay, we do our job mainly on industrial building, because some institutional buildings, and a bit of commercial, and residential we still have some here and there a bit. So depends lah. Sometimes after we do the job, the land gets sold and things like that, lah, So a lot of referrals lah. And we are like small medium sized firm, about 10 staff. So I used to be F20 was in the 90s. Then recession came, we got hit and all that. That time mostly the housing project, those days. Of course, today you don't want to be big because of all this technology. You can outsource a lot of things you can do. So, and we also diversify a bit because during the pandemic we experienced this. So the pandemic, in fact, pandemic I would be surprised. I do construction work. I do design build, things like that. And that's why we should not just think of traditional practice. One of the days today the world is so big. So in order to be, because if everybody go to practice the old way of doing that's dying off already. Old way of single super apprenticeship doing practice. Unless you're special in something, it's the only you can do. People come to you. That kind of things, okay, like can still survive lah. But generally, super apprenticeship, running a small practice is not that easy. On the other hand, for some also profitable. I mean, not many lah. For few of them, being a small practice, they're always low. Sometimes they do big job also. They hit one or two big jobs. It's okay for them. So, generally speaking, what do you call it? Things they always work lah. Not to worry. Whatever it is, always is there. So sama Tachula, we have been getting on the referral so far. I don't really go out marketing. So that's it once all the while. So Tachula reference lah. Okay. We tried the marketing, but then didn't really pursue lah. I mean, we didn't really pursue and approach developers and for some time there. They call us for request for proposal, we give. That's it.
So besides from reference, there's no marketing or branding.
Marketing, not really. I don't go and advertise or whatever. We cannot advertise anything, and then not the Facebook or whatever. Mainly on referrals. I would say 90% on referrals. Sometimes, I think mostly referral. I don't think any we go and look for jobs. But there are like sometimes once in a while, we know that some project we're going to approach people and find out, and they know. Look at our project, come back. Then be surprised some client come back after 20 years. It's got referrals and so things like that. Okay.
So, do you do any collaborative with the consultants?
Yes, I have my own team, engineers, associate engineers, many CNS and QS, and town planner also. Do planning work also. Sometimes I got my associate planner. Also got outsource town planner. So we work together as a team, a few projects together. We do that. Sometimes with architects also, but right now and lately there are not many jobs with architects. Sometimes we do also other architects. But I think that's why the smaller practitioners they need to collaborate for some job. But need not necessarily.
Before this, you have talked about the pandemic issues and everything, right? So, what is the issue that face in the construction industry that currently affect the architects or their work performance so far in the company?
Okay, I think pandemic time, I think there was a lot of layoff on things because the jobs are not there, funds are not coming. Some of office even closed from then until now, they never open back. They are there. Even we were affected also. I left with 3-4 staff like that. Even less about that. And then we're not spent. I used to be in KL. You see Megan Avenue 1, close by the KLCC. I saw office there. And this property was actually my property. It was empty for a few years. Pandemic time, I can't go to office here. Restriction movement order. They can't move 2000 year 2000 lah. 2020 sorry, 20. So couldn't move. So this was I rented the kindergarten many years before that. So it was empty for a few years. So I saw that yes, I saw convert to office. I can't go to care and started office when people can't go to office. And of course, I still allow my office staff work from home. These are daily Zoom meetings. We work from there lah. Then we build up again. But times were very tough. We couldn't hardly get collections or anything. Even I had to sell some property at that time.
But the work is still going on during the pandemic?
Not really. Some put on hold, some stop. Construction work going on, some of course. Some on hold, some on stop. Still going on, but slow down. Generally slow down. Of course, some work still has to go on, but generally it was a slow down.
So
Okay.
how do you maintain financially and stability for all of you?
That's the thing I told you. I sold my property. I really sold one of my property at that time. One of my bungalow I just sell to run for another year. That's how it was. And of course, we keep on getting jobs after that. And I also went into design build that time. So I do some industrial building. Instead of doing just design and get a smaller fee, I took on the challenge to design and build. I did three factory that time. Design and build contract. I got contract at that time. No choice because I engaged my own subcontractors and workers and all that. And I did the building, design and build. Because at that time, you cannot depend on typical of big projects or even medium-sized project. People put everything on hold. Nothing can sell. Construction or ongoing project also was so much a problem. No new launches, no new thing coming out. Whatever we were design, all put on hold because people very uncertain about what's going to be the future at that time. So put on hold. So the only way is like looking at smaller jobs like doing like factory. People want to because they also a problem. This guy, I know, he had a bigger factory. Recession time. I mean, during the pandemic, he sold the factory, go to a smaller factory, and we going to have to build that. And because I built, see again reference, I built this factory 20 years ago, 90s. Imagine after when he had pandemic time, he called me. Imagine pandemic time, there's no work. He called me. I sold my factory. I got another factory I bought over, but it's small. I want to expand it. I want to big. Can you do for me? Okay, I gave. Then he said, you build also for me. Yeah, like design build like that, Do. Imagine in the recession time, I still got my workers go and bring. Of course, we have to take care of health and all that, restriction and all those things like that time. With the restriction we did, but of course, not exactly year 2000 even after 2000, 2001, it expanded on. Of course, slowly, some of the job clients started back, client came back. Of course, some of them owes a lot of money. The main problem architect office facing is collection. If everybody can pay on time, architects, a lot of architects are very rich. The problem is, you got a fee, they don't pay you. A lot. I got a lot right off on you, a lot over the time. That's another problem. During pandemic, they will pay you. If they pay you, I can survive the pandemic, no problem. I don't even have any job at that time. I mean, without job, I can sit there. Maybe that payment only came in later, after a few years. That's how it is.
So the next one is industry challenges lah. So just now you really touched about architecture fees and all that, right? So what are the major challenges currently faced by architects in Malaysia? So example could be fees and all that. So you're given a talk about architecture fees and all that. Right? So can you like say anything about regarding that?
Okay, fees is one thing lah. See, as long as you can take lower fee, not a problem, but you can define a scope of work. See, based on architect, if every architect, see, generally, if we can get about 70% of skill of fees, you're okay already. But the problem is some people go very much lower. But what they do normally is best thing to do is we can reduce the scope of work. That means certain scope you don't do. For instance, detail drawing, contractor will do, you don't get involved. Because the regulations, they still need architects. Because of the submission, must get the approval. There's another big problem we're facing. As I told earlier, challenges getting approval. Typical system, but nobody wants to follow. Typical is okay, I suppose, but even then, there's certain issues right now. Selangor don't say lah. There's a lot of issues on the approval, but of course, when it comes to fees, you choose your work, you reduce scope of work accordingly. That's how it is. But ideally, you take the job, take a full scope of work. But you must also compare to other countries, like take China and all that. The architect don't get involved in construction. The design and that's it. Contractor takes on, the contractor brings his own responsibility. Thailand is the same. Korea also depends. Sometimes the English will work. Okay, so it depends on your scope of work. Sometimes you get lower fee, doesn't matter, but your scope of work define your scope of work. Other things. Doesn't mean general scope is low fee is bad. Some low fee is also good. You don't design after together with it. You don't have responsibility of even better. In China, a lot of people do that. All the big architects, but they do design only. Contractors solve the problem because their contractor is very big. In China, one contractor has 1,000 architects in the contract construction company itself. So they build themselves, design, detail, they can do themselves. Engineers, so they have thousands of them inside. So that's how things work in China. But here, we still follow the British system. But good thing, we are still our scale of fees still gazetted, and it's a law still. Our rules under scale of fees under the Architects Act is gazetted. If that's not gazetted, we got problem. Like Singapore, for instance, They also gazetted. But year 2000 somewhere, they abolish it because they want competition. When they abolish, actually at that time in Singapore, architect was one of the best profession, highly paid professional. And today, 20 years down the line, they're the worst paid professional. And they actually envy us. They'll say maybe get 10, 15% for the entire project. Now they get to 3% entire, entire project, entire consultants involvement. They're happy. That's the thing. That's why they go out to do practice and all those things. That's the scenario today. Good thing we keep the scale of it, even if we don't follow, at least something to refer to and something to tell the client. Okay.
What about the other challenges like competition, project delays, manpower issues?
I think right now one of the challenges we face is authorities approval.
Directors?
Getting very tedious and very unnecessary, I would say unnecessary regulatory burden. Unjustified. Simple thing like bomber for instance approval. Bomber actually not that bad but even then I find unnecessary. You got to put all the conditions, even though not relevant, and then tick. Why you waste time? Any summit plan, some agencies not relevant at all, but they still insist you to get letters about that, and then they come with all conditions when you are not doing it. For instance, you don't have toilets, example, if you expansion factory, don't toilet. They still want to get clearance letter from IWK. I say I'm not doing. Never mind. You just get surat edaran. This kind of unnecessary thing, a lot happening, and not only that, the planning approval now becoming out of control. The planner can comment. The majlis, Jabatan Perancang, actually is only planning permission. Okay. Of course, planning permission can be done by anybody, not just the town planners. Now they insist only town planner can submit planning permission. Okay, that's one part of it lah. Of course, spam, I'm fighting with it, and still status quo. In fact, getting worse now. That's one part of it. But the other part, the guideline regulations they come out with, all are not justified. Because all guidelines. Our building bylaw is okay, that's a law we follow. Okay? But guidelines. And then you can negotiate with them all these guidelines, what they want. Simple thing like car parking. I got factory job. Fully automated. Hardly have 10 staff. But based on guideline, they need 70 car parks. What for? Well, because that's a guideline, you say, you must provide. I say, no, my building is fully automated. I hardly have 10 people looking at the machine. But you need to provide what's in guideline. But you don't provide, you get approval. So you provide lah. So these are this one example telling, and they can comment on, you need office space 10%, 5%, loading bay. What do you know about factory operations? And the worst part, you can put conditions of 17 any departments in a CAM approval, which is unnecessary. So these are the burden we're facing. Right now at planning stage, we're facing a lot of problems. The problem, regulatory burden is a lot of architect office. We spend more time attending authority and actually doing construction. Construction can be very fast. Some project construction can do 3 months, but getting the approval take 1-2 years. And sometimes getting the approval cost is more for small jobs and then construction costs. Imagine an example I give you. This is a real case. Some people want to extend a mezzanine floor. Simple. You get contractor 80,000 only. To get a town planner for that, to get an engineer, architect, you spend 89,000, 70, 80,000. Real case. I can tell you. Happens a lot. Because when you go town planner 20,000 already, and then the engineer cost, such a cost, but the construction cost 30,000 only I do. That real case happening. Because of the regulatory, but actually it can be very simple. You go to the building department with simple permit approval, you can do construction. But the process is like that. Because you're more than 400 square, you're town planner. What nonsense is that? So things like that. So a lot of things cut off. And most so, we are, based on the Town Plan Contributing Act, we got the structure plan, local plan, and also national physical plan. All this we have. So when you follow, national physical plan is a big project, all that. When you got, local plan, structure plan basically for the entire state or whatever. So local plan, this state, various area, you have a local plan approved. You know where everything is. And in more detail, you got plan Susunato, layout plan approved. When layout plan approved for a bungalow, you don't need CAM anymore by law. Because that is already CAM approval. But when you go submit a bungalow plan, I need a CAM approval. What's the point? Actually, it's all against the law. So that, I can frankly say it's all against not against the law. You're not following the law. You're just using your power to create certain burdens to go in. Because, of course, authority got power. But law says you don't have to get all that. Well, the moment, those days we do that. Those days we Plus Susunato, like Sri Damansara I said earlier, we Plus Susunato approve, we say go and submit building plan. Done. Finished. We don't have to go for another K. Now even you submit building plan, you see another KM approval. Even for a bungalow. We don't, and then you need a town plan to some of a bungalow. Crazy. So these are the things, really, and not only that, when you go for KM, they refer to so many departments unnecessary. This I think is like becoming a real problem.
How has the construction industry current condition affected your practice?
Generally, if you got the right contractor, no problem. Nah. If you have the wrong contractor, so selection of contractor is very, very important. You need to do a proper due diligence, and you need to follow the contract. Sometimes the worst thing is that if you paid upfront money and do all this wrong. So if you really follow the contract, either bank contract, or contract, of course, sometimes they even give deposit, some contract. In fact, many contract they give also. But they're all okay. Mainly right, get the right contractor, right experience, do a proper evaluation. Then you go in. I don't think much of a problem. If we can manage that, and of course, monitoring is important, and regular submit is important, regular reporting is important. It all depends on how you manage and administer. If you let go, everything, assume everything okay, nothing will be okay. End of the day, go to site, you got a problem. Okay, and of course, today's technology and all that, very easy to monitor, very easy. And of course, we content updated every, real time also you can see what's happening on site today. So no problem. Today's a lot of things can be done in technology and all that. Okay.
So how do you delegate the contractual responsibilities, especially in sites and people management?
Okay, normally when you go for construction, we will have our inspector over the site. For larger project, even a resident engineer or an architect on site. So reporting to us and also the engineer and also the client, depending on the thing. So these people on site, they represent us on site and they report to us. Okay, and then we also got a system, online system. Normally we have a software to manage that. Every day they will go on. I'll delegate my staff here. I got one design staff, one project manager. They go through the system every day. Be depend on project. So at least there's two staff at office looking into it online now. For instance, the contractor want to confirm the setting up. So he sends a survey plan. So the system already there. We got a system. So basically, contract management system, construction management system. You need to have that. Today, of course, we have all the software. So those days all do manually and all that. So we have this system. Everything we trigger, we respond to the system, whether approved, don't approve, drawing update, whatever AI, whatever issue, everything, we update the system. And then every bi-weekly or 3 weeks once we have a site meeting, we update. In the site meeting, the progress report, contractor submits, we also update the progress report. So we have to monitor regularly on that. So if we go on the basis, and even if we don't have site meeting also, the system, every day we get notification. Everybody got phone. Immediately you know what's happening, real time on site. I show you an example. One of my construction site. You see this Loden? How many message today? This is one of my construction site going on a construction factory. Under construction now. See every 3 minutes, how many? Just today only. So we update. We just click that. There's a system. For instance, the request for casting concrete inspection. We reply. For instance, they want to confirm the levels, whatever later construction they come in. So this system is there. Every day we got not one, I tell you, maybe tens or sometimes 100 every day. So of course this one monitored by, I have two staff, one project manager and managing it, and one more. Of course this goes to the entire team, engineers, because some engineers take action, not us. M&E, CNS, QS. So it goes to the entire system, the contractor, client also, of course, everything goes to client. So we are into the system. So you need a construction management system, well managed, it's not a problem. This is an example I show you on the phone only. Don't even open the computer. So everybody, of course, in the email. So we have that. You see, today, yesterday, not so many. Today also, a few. Yesterday, not so many. Only they can see. The Nickelodeon is there. Then they request whatever they want. We update the system. Then approve, don't approve. We got a kind of system of project management construction. Okay. So if we manage, but not an issue.
So that is among the staff.
And this time I got an inspector on site, so he will do the inspection on site, report to us. Of course, we paid by the client. Some we client pay directly, some we reimburse, we pay them reimburse, but report to us. And then most important documentation. This is where you have the system, all documented there. Okay, and then we update in our monthly report, whatever we do. Okay.
So we're talking about delivering the services. So how do you have any other different method that you use to deliver the service to the clients? Like usually we'll see we're designing and then we make a deal and then we build. So is there any difference in your firm?
The method delivery is it?
Yes.
There are many forms. Sometimes we submit a report, the conventional way, submit the report and drawings and present to them in hard copy. That's the traditional way. Those days what we used to do. Of course, now we hardly do that. We normally just WhatsApp the entire proposal or even email. Depending on what stage you're looking at. So design stage, we design and then we present all digital nowadays. All they even get copy beforehand before we have a meeting, and we want to walk through of the if need be of that entire drawings. Depends what our project, what our detailing you require. Some don't even need the 3D, especially typical factories or typical renovation, smaller job and all that. We just do working drawings straight away. So it depends on what is your requirement. But today, a lot can be done. Even sometimes we also outsource some of the. You need some solutions, for instance. Sometimes 3D rendering nowadays. Of course, we do also stuff here, but then we can outsource that kind of thing very easily. Online, you just put in somebody pick it up and do it for very cheap. Within minutes, you get it. That's how AI can do today. For example, I want to render some project, I complete everything. But I buy myself what I want. The guys from Bangladesh can pick it up. The guy from Mexico whatever can pick it up. And they can render, send back within minutes for you. There's some guys specialized just in this. They send back to you. And you find a layout, do a layout, master plan. You want solution. Hundreds are doing it. If I put my stuff 1 week, 2 weeks, I'm gonna get put it online, get somebody AI to look into it. Within hours or even minutes, they can come back to you. So this the kind of technology is there. We can AI is a really real thing now. Of course, it's not threat. I mean, still, of course, we will lose job on some areas but there's advantage to it also. Because sometimes small practice and they can leverage on a lot available. So small practice can leverage a lot on whatever is there. Even big practice, anybody can leverage on that. Sometimes you need to be small also can. You can also a lot of things nowadays. You can do that. So that's presentation depends Sometimes you walk through. Sometimes we just give a video. Sometimes just a hard copy. It depends on what project, what sort of client, what they want.
So when we're talking about dealing with clients, how do you manage to handle the conflict or the disagreements among the clients?
Sometimes you look at end of the day, it's all the facts Your facts are correct. You always, of course, you always people say client is always right end of the day, whatever it is. But then wherever it's wrong, you must tell them
Are you the kind of just go with what the client says or agree?
No, sometimes we got to correct them things are not right or sometimes you can give a look at different perspective, give another innovative solution. Another experience I also did some turnkey project. This we're involved in this upgrading railway station. We are Seremban line. We got about 8 stations. That's the main contractor is there. We actually appointed by the main contractor. Of course, this is what you call it, a big project, a big contractor. Of course, the client is KTM. But then, even though the job, the kind of compliance are crazy, even though our role is not really big because the entire job is very big. Because upgrading railway is very big, it's a $billions project. But then we are upgrading stations, only stations are small. But then the kind of compliance, I can tell you, every few days got meeting. And then the client agree on something today, KTM, then next few days, the room must be bigger. Small job, keep on changing. So this is another challenge that we face by some client. It's actually end of the day, it's not justified of fees because the thing can be done once. You're doing 4 5 times, the thing, and then after that, compliance to the higher management. For instance, sometimes minister goes for the site, or minister says no, cannot. We won't change. Come back to us. Sometimes the Pangala goes there. He comes with a comment. They change it. Yeah. And even when they come out with project brief also, sometimes not very clear. Along the way, the project brief says this, but construction time, you find it's not workable. For instance, construction brief, it says full of tempered glass, and then there's no ventilation, and there's no provision for aircon also. How do you do that? So this I think will highlight the client lah. As you said. So even though client says this is it, follow the brief, but it doesn't work. I mean, just one example I'm telling you, like, it's like that.
Is there any one big challenge that really challenged you, and how do you overcome the challenges?
Actually, finishing not much, unless the client not decided on finishing work lah. I got one project also same problem. Until today, they have not decided on tasks, decided on the we give proposal, they don't want, they choose their own, all that. We're going to cut costs here and there. There are challenges like that. But then, they got to accept it lah. Extension time, whatever, they bear the cost accordingly. That's finishing. But I've got one experience, another project, many years back lah, almost like 15 to 20 years back, housing project. I mean, not here, I mean, Perak. So at that time, we did the project as we were brought in by a turnkey contractor originally. They said design build, come out the contractor members. And they terminated the contract because the was not honors and not limiting project. And then I was a consultant. And then they asked me to manage the project. I manage housing project, not very big, medium size, say 100 houses. I manage a project. And after I manage, then we appoint a contractor, proper check work and all that. And the contractor didn't perform. Piling done, not properly done. So we do some remedial work on site and all that. So that contractor didn't perform, also terminated. Then don't know what to do lah. Then what I did, I took the challenge to complete the job. I become project manager, then contractor. I mean contractor. I as a project manager, I employ subcontractors to complete the job. I got no choice. I even managed relation brought workers, put in there under the project management company, and of course we got approval to bring workers and all. And I did the complete and completed it after almost like 1.5 2 years lah. But there are challenges along the way also. Somehow I completed it lah. As initially started as architect, but ended up as design build, complete the whole thing lah. I'm happy about that. Very happy that done from that we completed lah. So that's sometimes depends situation lah. So we get different. It's a very complex, different each client how that kind of challenge. As you say, like KTM, there's a different kind of challenge because there's so many protocol we have to follow, and then the regular meetings, the high stand. They also set a lot of high standards too. They also got another system, project management system. Automatically alert you about meeting, automatically update the drawing. Everything is there. It's another system there. So that's how it is lah. Different project have different challenges lah. But construction, that's why I need a lot of proper planning. If you plan early, do it right. I can't say do it right and easy, but get the right content. Do a lot of due diligence first before you start one project, and have a proper management system. That's very important. You construction. If you do that, then you will not much of an issue. And then it must always turn in contract lah. So contractually, if doesn't follow, correspondence is very important lah. So you give the what do you call it reminder accordingly, carry out the whatever clauses in the contract accordingly lah. Okay.
So this is out of the context. I just want to ask that about the due diligence that you were saying. Can you explain more about it, or do you have any like a special due diligence with the contractors?
No, basically, you look at their past track record. I mean, normally before you call for tender, we pre-qualify contractors. We do pre-qualify. That's the time we do due diligence lah. We look at their financial standing. We look at their current commitment, and then there is a way of looking at the. Of course, we need to have QS do some assessment together with us. look at the past track record, current track record.
But then there's still a contractor that is
But
billing.
sometimes, yeah, you
Yeah.
can do diligence everything. End of the day, you can still have problem because along the way, anything can happen. You know, maybe financially, when you get another job, you get paid, you get stuck. All this can happen. So you do a proper pre-qualification of contractor lah before start work. Then after pre-qualified, then everybody in the same terms of competing the job lah. You already pre-qualified earlier, that means any contractor you choose can do the job. So pre-qualification is very important. Even sometimes when you call open tender, then you pre-qualify them during the tender process.
Okay, so the next questions are all going to be about PAM. No?
Uh,
What is your perception of
Uh,
PAM as the professional body representing architectures in Malaysia?
Actually, PAM is quite well reputed, well respected, not only in Malaysia, in fact, throughout the region and the world. If you look at PAM, we are Malaysian architects. We are quite, in a way, uh, to a level that, see, we, what do you call it, to a level respected by the profession now. Of course, it comes to practice, a lot of these architects are what do you call it, responsibility and whatever lah. People as undercutting fees, all this and all that. But then PAM, as far as concerned, is more like an institute basically, where the architects come together. We try to promote for the betterment of the profession, the practice, architects, and so on. Of course, so far, I think okay. In fact, well respected outside also, not in Malaysia, even among the other peer industries. Again, depends who is leading it and how it's being run. Okay, so far I think PAM is okay, but on the other hand, we also have LAM, Board of Architects. Okay, they are more regulatory body. They're just more of an institute. Okay, they are the one actually can tell the government, tell the agency what they want to do because they are the regulatory body. But of course, we got to work closely with LAM to address all these practice issues. Of course, we have done a lot in the past, and we're still doing some. And of course, yet to do. I mean, we're doing some, and we still do a lot of things now. Okay.
So, do you believe PAM is effective supporting architects of different firm sizes?
Oh, firm sizes. I think generally we're open. We got a lot of in PAM. I think we have practice committee, many other committees. Of course, we have got practice forums, practice. There's avenue for that. They can come forward anytime. The problem sometimes we don't come forward. A lot of people complain from outside, but they don't come forward to PAM. And because we are open, they can come. Any issues with practice, or there's always an avenue for it to come forward to us and all that lah. To ask, query, whatever, complain, whatever, anything you can do, come forward. And but the problem, some complain, but they come forward. We on and off. We also have seminar, workshop. A lot of things we're doing. Even we have recently talked. We have practice forum coming in December. Housing forum next week on Saturday. So many things we have and different, not just practice on housing, on of course in IT, on design. There's so many talks. In fact, every Saturday we are full with talks every week. So we got a lot of them. Just that members to come forward. A lot of people are ignorant. Not ignorant, they don't even bother to come forward. The things are there. They just come forward.
So, how well do you think PAM protects the professional rights and welfare of architects, especially regarding fees, competition, and scope of services?
Actually, we can only go do this through LAM. But PAM don't have the regulatory power. But we can, of course, we used to have like workshop, come together, throw in your idea. Of course, we can promote to members, all that. But we work together with board, lembaga, not only on the fee matter, or there's a lot of other issues like the regulatory body just now I mentioned about the approvals and all that. We work together, not only in LAM, it's also with the industry, others. We work together on this. So basically, PAM is doing it bit. It's bit basically because remember recently we established a land stakeholders fee deposition thing with the board, but that one is been implemented now being started and all that. So housing project must register with the fee collection upfront. But then there's also good and bad about that lah, because nowadays the housing project, whatever fee, whatever you do, if you collect upfront, they just it's quite good lah. But today any business, you got a lawyer, you got an accountant, anybody, you always pay upfront fee. You got a doctor, you make sure you got insurance. See, that's the kind of thing. But then we architects, our scale of it doesn't say that, but we follow that. But actually, that doesn't mean you follow that. You always take a deposit upfront. I also take deposit. Some of my clients, people, I don't know that. But otherwise, you do your work, then you go back for your payment, back. That's what happening. Another, you don't even get paid after so long. And developers, the culprit is taking advantage of it. In fact, it's really difficult. If you look at developers today, the bigger, some, of course, some are quite okay, but many of these developers, they take advantage of architects. They put bulk of the fee during construction stage. One, they only split the fees. They factor normally 10% of consultant fee, but they can finish within 5%. So 5% is profit there. You understand or not? Consultant fee is the profit. And we have to struggle to just match, just to cover whatever overheads that we have to do. So that's the thing. But of course, PAM is doing its bit, whatever it is. But then, maybe we be more focused, but PAM is doing whatever it is. Of course, we have done some in the past, some ongoing, some yet to be done.
Okay. What revolution or major changes do you believe the Malaysian architectural industry urgently needs?
Revolution. Number one, I think we need to adapt to technology today. About whatever said and done. AI is, AI was mind blowing nowadays. Look at how it has transformed. So I think we cannot run away from this. Innovation. See, the problem, we always bugged up in this traditional way of training. In fact, training in school also must change. We are training, we got your part one, part two, you study this, study that, go to part three. That is a typical, this one must go already. When we were small, number of architects, I mean, when and then everybody got to practice at the same time, we are trained like that. And then everybody so prepared, open up, and we compete each other, low fees. We should get out of this. I think training itself, there are a lot of things in the world, AI and all these things. So the education system should look into how to innovate, how to move forward with technology. Of course, along the way, when too many graduates, you got to be good at something that you're good at. Okay, of course, you adapt technology moving forward, and of course, don't undercut fees. You do the job, good fee, do. Don't do. Let somebody do it. If I go to a lawyer, you said, okay, job, I open a file, so 10,000, I take money, or 20,000. Otherwise, nobody will do. The architect, give me job first. I'll take first, I'll do first. After that, I'll beg money. And I say, you already got put 3%, another guy, 1%, I'll take it. But this have to stop. So you must have some kind of, this one you cannot control. It's all personal belief. Of course, some people, you can't help it. Some people are desperate. Some practices are desperate. As long as I have a job, I can run, I'm happy. Even though I can manage. You go India, it's even worse. In India, the fee even lower. But then, they can still manage because one, the overheads are very low, because they do volume, big job. And then the service, they do much. It's a lip service. You give construction, you cannot construct. So you engage contractor to do the construction. But they adapt it, that's the system. As long as the building don't collapse, they get trouble, they're okay.
In your opinions, what improvements or reforms should PAM implement to better support the architectural profession?
Engage more with members. Possibly, I don't know, maybe should do a roadshow to get more. Because, as I said earlier, we need to look at a different angle, innovate, and of course AI is there and all that. And we should not just look into being architecture alone. Today, the world is so huge. If architecture great, you can do a lot of big things out there. It's not like design build, for instance. Actually, architect can design build. In fact, you go Philippines, a lot of architects go design build. Small timers, they cannot survive being a sole proprietor, so they will design build, and they specialize in certain area. Good. ID work is quite a lot of money to design build. Some people are doing it. So likewise, of course, we already got a lot of programs, a lot of what do you call it, lecture series and CPD talks and all PAM. Every day, every week, we got something there. But then roadshow maybe to get more people to be aware of what is happening. Things are there, what happening, or maybe we can even. Of course, you got a practice committee and all that. There are practice and so many committees. Get more people to join PAM's committees and involve their will.
So last question about PAM. So how can the government, local authorities, and PAM collaborate better to streamline approvals, reduce delays, and improve project delivery nationwide?
Actually, we've been working on this already. It's just that we also got a model all done, the kind of manual all done. The problem is implementation on the ground. We already got a nice system. You just follow that. Okay. But the problem on the ground, the every PBT, because you see, our government is federal, state, local authorities. At federal level, we have done. We have manual, they pass on to state. And the state take on, they got their own way of doing things. And then state pass to local authorities. You go MBSA, they got own procedure. MPPJ, own procedure. MPHA, the procedure. They themselves, people down there, see, everybody want to show what they can do. That's how things work. So, end of the day, it's not really, I mean, we have been doing and we will still be doing it. FEPAM is still doing it. The only problem on the ground there, what do you call it? We need to, how to make sure these guys work. Simple thing like I submit plan to underway system. Tak boleh buka file. Comment come out, tak boleh buka file. And then when you go and check, they use the old version of computer. Simple thing like that. And they don't even have proper infrastructure. Who's to be blamed? The government. You have to come up with things. And you know our system of government. Now they come back to the capacity building local authorities. And secondly, they must work. See, for instance, I go on that. I've been trying to get my project approval. Talking to the counter, the guy down there. The guy is so arrogant. And he said, tak boleh. And I told him, can I see a pengarah? Tak boleh. About appointment. And I quietly called to somebody, and there, see the pengarah. And go through with him. I explained, okay, no problem. That's it. See, this is the mentality of the local government people. And then most of the time, they're not in the office also. You cannot call them. And you go there, see them, they're not around. Make appointments or don't turn up. So, these are real challenge. Something has to be done on the ground. That's it. You already got a nice system. OC3 or 3 plus is already good system already. You follow that, things are fast. Approval can be fast, but the problem is, after you get approval, by the time you get the endorsement out, another 2-3 months go. There's another problem they need to foresee. Why? They'll give approval already, on record the approval already. But to get the endorsement out, or the guy is not around, and then suddenly say another new comment comes in, they correct it. And purposely they give problem for you.
Just a bit more practical. So, if you could introduce a new policy or regulation that would immediately improve in the profession, what would it be and why?
Policy for in terms of what?
To improve the professions of architects, architecture.
I think talk about local authorities and all that. Especially now, one of the main problem faced is the getting approvals lah. Authorities. Selangor is one of the worst lah, I can tell you. Of course, DBKL is considered good. I mean, I would say good. They got a good system. Not that bad. Of course, sometimes can get better depending on officer who's in charge there. I think we should go for self-regulation. Self-regulation means, in fact, it's practiced in some of the countries. Because architects, you're already signing off responsibility, all that, As long as you can comply to, you're undertaking it. But anything goes wrong, of course, authority can check. You want to self-regulate also, doesn't mean that you don't check. The authority can still check. The law they find it fault, they can come back after the architect. By law, they can do that. So we can move towards regulation, self-regulation. In fact, DBK started this. Another voice I told you earlier that we did. That's why we got number 2 and all that. They tried to bring in semi-self-regulation, something like that. Started after self-regulation means whatever the architect can sign off, and the authority accepts it and approves it. Like what we're doing for structure drawing. We submit deposit and that's it. Nobody check. But building collapse only you check. That's more important than the design. Correct or not? And again, get rid of all those unnecessary burden, especially at the planning approval stage. We got structure plan, local plan we got. Okay? We only got that. If you follow that, enough. CAM should have give right away, give you CAM 24 hours and give you a thing. Straight away go for building plan. Singapore does that, but Malaysia can't do that. Things like that. So basically, self-certification, avoid unnecessary burden at planning approval stage. A lot of burden. Small project, no need CAM also. Even if you follow your structure plan, a local plan, no need KM also. If a layout approved, Penang doing that. In Penang, the PDC all industrial area. Example I tell you, big factory, straight masuk bangunan, no need KM. Because layout approved already. That's layout is already KM. I mean, layout approved is already KM. Planning permission given. If you go by the law, when the layout plan approved, the particular plot designed for industry or bungalow, the law says that is already approved for you to do industry there. Factory. Maybe they already specified what's the height in the planning approval, what's the height, what's the thing, but what setback and all that. Then Salome follow the guideline. That's all finished. In fact, in the local plan already specified what the height of the building, everything is very detailed. So why someone submit KM again? So this is the problem in this country. We need unnecessary submission, unnecessary, and then the flow will comment, unnecessary thing, go to TNB lah, whatever, all this unnecessary, refer to all agencies, including Alam Sekitar, not relevant, so they refer, JMG not relevant, so refer everything. So waste our time. So this has to be eliminated completely. Okay, of course, I understand big projects, you don't follow the local plan structure. Yes, you go to all this process, but not for every project, even small project, go through this. So these are things. One thing, the completely have to reform that approval process. Actually, we get very frustrated when it comes to submission of authorities approval. Every day I'm facing this. Even today I'm facing. Seriously, every minute we are facing this. Every project. Imagine so many projects we're doing. Every project we face different kind of problem. So this one of the major thing to reform. And other than that, I think Lembaga also, I mean, of course they're doing things, but maybe they should be more proactive lah, Lembaga Architect, because I understand Lembagas are doing it, not that they're not doing it. Simple thing like matters to practice and all that. They should do more writing to local authorities, writing up to the government agencies, which I feel is lacking lah. Lembaga can do more. Of course, we PAM also work together. Of course, there should be a of course, PAM also does a bit, lah, but even then, PAM is not a regulatory body. They can only help and assist Lembaga whatsoever. Lah. And again, depends who is in PAM also. Lah, doing the thing. That's it.
Do you think current architecture education in Malaysia prepares graduate for real practice?
In a way, I would say 50-50 lah. Partly you have got, of course, you need the basic training, basic architecture practice and all that. But then you must go beyond that. Look at today's reality of the world. That's why I said you should bring in, integrate AI into education. Of course, you train BEAM all I know. BEAM has been trained now in the universities. But BEAM, we've gone beyond that already now. Singapore especially. AI, VR and all that. They've gone beyond that. So, again, they need real commitment from the education. So I think we should be looking more innovative, and we should be prepared for not just train to become practitioner. Train to, of course, basic thing is that lah, so you get a part 3. But beyond that, there should be a lot of other things to be trained up to face the reality. Everybody cannot go to practice. There's a lot of things in the world. It's so huge, and so many new innovations coming in. We need to adapt or maybe fine-tune our system to go into that lah.
So, as someone with experience in practice, what is the biggest lesson or change you want for future architects to know about the business and the ethics of architecture?
But I think don't be too passionate about design. Understand, when it goes to practice, of course, a lot of people, like to do design. You do whatever passionate you are, but also think, end of the day, it's 90% business, 10% design. A lot of sometimes some architects very carried away with design. Of course, there are also some very famous architects. They're very successful designers, but then business-wise, they don't do well. Business and all that. See, so must be balanced both, but you should think of business also. But at the same time, you should also be, have your basic things about design and all that. Not to say you completely forgo that. You have the basic, but think of it as a business also. Be prepared earlier on all that.
In terms of practicality.
Yeah, of course, practicality and all that. Of course, design, of course, function. One is you look at the function, mainly design for function. Of course, being innovative and design to, of course, environmental, comply to environmental requirements, sustainability, and also on resilient, whatever lah. That the basic. Okay. Of course, beyond that,
Don't get too much passionate about aesthetic matters and all that. Lah. Get into business also. And if possible, diversify a bit. Don't just depend on architecture. Diversify. Look at something you're good at. So move into that. And then you try to innovate in that area you're good at. Innovate to some area you're good at. So I think the key thing is still, as an architect, you still need to innovate, like, you know, to be creative, be innovative. Of course, at the same time, be practical also, what need to be done end of the day. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.